Okay, we're ready with Blake.
Start off with Michael Grady from Yes Network.
Hey, Blake, as you guys looked at the tape from game one, what kind of stood out? It was a victory, but what stood out in terms of things that you guys can tweak to have even more success from the start in game two?
Just some things to clean up here and there. Defensively, offensively, I thought we just kind of pressed a little bit. I think everybody was pretty had some extra energy. You know, seeing the crowd in there, just missed. You could see kind of like our first several shots were just kind of, I think, wanting it a little bit too much. So I think we'll be better. We cleaned up some stuff yesterday and today, and feel good about it.
And personally, how do you feel in terms of getting into the flow and the things and the little things that you need to do in order to help the team that you've been providing since you arrived?
Of course, I mean, offensively, we just kind of took a lot of ISO, took a lot of their switches, and had our guys, you know, take advantage of them. So, like I said, some of the stuff we worked on is just being more in the flow, running our sets more. So, you know, I'll take what is given to me, but you know, I got to do all things as well.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, Blake, you talked about your ISO against their switches team-wise. I'm curious, on the other end, did you feel your guys switching as much as you do? Did you feel that threw them off a little bit offensively? And the second part, what is Steve talk to you about in terms of what he wants to see, I guess, from you specifically down the stretch when they're going to try to get Jayson on you and so forth?
I mean, if you look at Jayson and Kemba's numbers, you know, I think Jayson hit 3 free throws at the end. Kemba hit a 3 at the end. If you look at their numbers, I thought we did a pretty solid job on them. And as far as me specifically, I mean, you know, just sit down and guard. You know, we had sort of a scheme going, tweaked it a little bit, but nothing else really changes.
Malik Andrews, ESPN.
Hey, Blake, now that you've had a little bit of time to digest it, look over the film, get through some practice time, is there anything more that stood out to you that maybe didn't immediately after the game in terms of you guys really got it going in the second half, but potentially moving that up a little bit earlier so you don't get out to quite the sluggish start?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of that was I think that's just missing shots, but you know, I liked our physicality, especially coming out of halftime. You know, we've got to do a good job offensive rebounding. Those are two areas, not just this series, but throughout the entire playoffs. Like we're going to have to be really good in those two areas, being physical and making sure we keep teams off the glass. So, you know, those two things will not only limit their shot attempts, but also get us out running and get us in the open court.
Thanks, Blake.
Jared Greenberg, Turner.
Hey, Blake, being that you in your previous stops have been the focal point of the offense, what is it like now for you to see, particularly in that second half the other night when your big three are really getting it going offensively? Do you find yourself at all kind of watching and saying, wow, this is really impressive offense, like the way those three guys can operate and score from so many different levels?
During the course of the game, do
yeah.
I say that?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe occasionally on a play here or there, but for the most part, you know, I'm sort of thinking about other things. A lot of times watching films, you know, or seeing highlights and stuff, you do see that, and you do, you know, notice the luxury that we do have with those three guys. But you know, there's not a lot of times I stop in the middle of the game and have those thoughts.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Blake, along those lines, did you know, the supporting cast usually contributes quite a number of points. That didn't happen that past game. I'm just wondering if that's because you guys were trying to, you know, be conscious of helping James and Kyrie and KD work together and get familiar with each other because they haven't had much time together. So were you guys sort of deferring to them to an unusual extent?
No, I mean, I don't think we turned down, you know, a lot of shots, you know, between I would say like Bruce, myself, Jeff, Landry. I don't think we turned down a lot of shots. I think we just kind of played through the flow of the game, and like I said, we saw some matchups that we liked, and we went to that. So I don't think it was as much as us deferring as just lacking, what we had.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey Blake, how's it going? When you look at the box score and you see Jayson Tatum shoot 6 of 20, you see Kemba shoot 5 of 16, and Evan Fournier shoot 3 of 10. Do you look at that as, okay, they're not going to have that poor of a shooting performance in game 2, and we need to make some adjustments? Or do you look at that as, no, that's our defense working, and we need to keep doing what we've been doing?
I think you look at, the overall scope of the game. There wasn't a ton of shots where, they were just missing wide open shots. I thought we at least made it somewhat difficult. Tatum and Kemba are both explosive scorers and are very capable of hitting very tough shots. But we'll have to live with them hitting tough shots. And I think on the other end as well, I don't think that we particularly shot that well either. I think Kyrie did. But, especially from 3, I don't think we shot well. So you kind of look at both sides of the coin, I guess. But to answer your question, it's a little bit of both. I thought we did a solid job defensively, but you can't expect them to shoot a combined, whatever they were, 30% or 31% or whatever it was.
Last question, David with La Gazzetta dello Sport.
Hey, Blake, going back to the big three, how the team changes when they are on the floor all together, like in game 1, compared to one of them is playing or 2 of them are playing?
Oh, well, obviously the attention on the floor, defensive attention on the floor gets spread out a little bit more. They're all so dynamic. They're all so dynamic offensively and scoring the basketball that even when it's just one on the floor, they still command a lot of attention. It's just sort of being able to space the floor properly, and also not get complacent where it's just like, oh, just throw one of them the ball and let them do their thing. Let's get into our sets and let's get some movement, and then let them get into their ISO or whatever they had, their breakdown off of that. So a lot of times when you have the luxury of having guys like that, you sort of lean on them to just go get it done. And I think we need to stay on top of making sure that we still go through our sets and do all the things that we work on every day, and then let them get loose.
Thanks for your time, Blake.
Thanks, guys.